To open the meeting tonight, we welcome back WRRA, who will lead us in a karakia.
Kia ora whānau. Let us pray. Me noi tātou. I te atua, he honore he kurore kia koe, tō tātou mātua nui te rangi. He whakaaro pai ki ngā tāmata katoa, he maungarongo ki te whenua. I te atua, noho tonu i Whanganui i a mātou ki te arahi, i a mātou ki te whakarongo pai, ki ngā kōrero, ki a rātou e kōrero ana, kia pai, kia mārama, tō rātou kōrero e pāna ki tēnei o tātou rohe. I te ritimo te pō e te atua, arahi i a mātou, ki te tai pai, ki te kāinga. Nei tō mātou i noi, e i noi nei ahau, i roto i ngō tapu tō tama kui Kiritahi. Amen. Father, that you are blessed and you are honoured, that there would be peace throughout the land, and that all of us would consider well each other, that you would give us real patience to listen, to hear those things that are being said, and that you would give confidence to those who are looking to express what they are wanting to do for our district of Whanganui. At the end of the evening, Father, that you would take us home safely, guide us home safely. We pray this to you, Lord, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. My name is and I'm your moderator this evening. I'm assisted by our committee, our chair Reweti, and members Tim Stubbs and Graham Holloway, who will be helping with microphones. Tonight is a very important night for many reasons. For the first time in the history of our city, we have Maori wards representing the two council seats. A very significant step in our multicultural history and progress. There will also be a binding referendum to decide whether these wards are retained after the current term. Whatever your belief, it is absolutely essential that you vote. We also have 6 candidates for the horizons of regional candidates, standing for the 2 Whanganui seats and the 2 Māori seats on the regional council. This is a session of particular interest, as the very existence of regional councils is under scrutiny by central government. Perhaps the whole concept and function of regional councils is not well understood by many. Tonight must be a step in the right direction, both in understanding their role and learning about those who seek to represent us. The final group will be the mayoral contest, with the 4 candidates here present. In fact, there are 3 candidates here present. The mayoralty is a pivotal governance position. Each candidate will share their reasons for standing and how they intend to guide our city and region over the next 3 years. Never before has the choice of who we elect to local government been more important. Central government is placing an unprecedented pressure on councils to deliver more with less. And that is a real challenge for institutions that already carry their fair share of bureaucracy. Is it water done well? Water not so well? Is the possible dissolution of our council replaced by large unitary authorities truly in the best interest of ratepayers and citizens now and in the future? Like you, I hope that tonight's program will provide some answers and give us insight into who are the best people to carry Whanganui forward. And before I explain how tonight's program will work, I want to say a few words about the Whanganui Residents and Ratepayers Association, Our role is clear: to help voters make informed decisions. We are not partisan, and we do not promote individual candidates. Instead, we share information on the qualities that make an effective councillor and provide resources such as our voting matrix. The sheet highlights the 12 attributes voters have told us they value most. If you haven't got one, please take one, and we hope it helps you weigh your voting decisions carefully. Well, like a phoenix, in 2024, the new Whanganui Residents and Ratepayers Association arose from the ashes of its predecessor. We are a new and very active organisation working for the smooth and positive running of Whanganui now and in the future. To ensure traction with both citizens and the council, we've established a formal communication link with the top floor of council. This ensures our approach is both informed and balanced. We know we cannot be all things to all people, but we do and we will continue to have an impact for all people on council outcomes. To continue to be effective, we need to grow the association, and this, of course, will increase our effectiveness. Membership forms are available in the foyer, and if you haven't already picked one up, please do so at the break. We would very much like you to join us. And while our work is voluntary, there is always costs involved, and a donation box is available in the foyer should you wish to support us in that way. And above all, thank you for being here tonight. That is how democracy works. And thank you to the candidates, all of you, for being here tonight. That is also very much how democracy works. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for their platform speech. A bell will sound at 1 minute 30, and again at 1 minute 50, and a final bell at 2 minutes. Once the final bell sounds, please finish your sentence and return to your seat. It's no small task to put yourself forward for public office. It requires courage, commitment, and a genuine desire to serve the community. And while we may not agree with every position, every candidate deserves our respect. As the old saying goes, play the ball and not the person. After about an hour, we will take a 15-minute intermission. Question time. We will begin with prepared questions, but if time permits, we will also invite questions from the floor. If you wish to ask a question, please raise your hand. If chosen, wait for a microphone to come to you. Stand and state your first and last name before asking your question. After you have spoken, our chair, Rachel, will repeat the question to ensure everyone has heard it correctly. The speaking order has been randomly drawn to ensure fairness. Thank you. Now, our first candidate is Julie Herewini, and Julie is going to, when she comes to the podium, is going to make a statement in regard to an omission by the electoral officer in terms of the Māori candidates. And Julie, who has been working on the problem and the remedy, is far more familiar with it than I am. So I'd like to ask Julie to come forward, please. Ladies and gentlemen, a big welcome for Julie.
Tēnā tātou katoa. Tuatahi, e tika ana me mihi atu kia koe e pā mō tō karakia, no i tūpura tēnei hui o tātou. Just firstly would like to thank our person who did karakia for us to open our hui correctly this evening. And as WRRC said, I have the opportunity to just have a little bit of a kōrero. So we've been made aware this afternoon that none of the profiles from any of the candidates standing in the Māori ward election have been included in the candidate information book as part of the voting packs that have gone out to the whole city. So when you open your book, you will not see any of of us featured in our information there for you to read and peruse in order to make decisions. So, quite frankly, we're a bit upset about that. We're probably more than a bit upset. We have had a call from Warwick Lamp from the electoral office, and I just want to make it really clear that he has taken full responsibility for the ERA. The ERA does sit with Elections NZ and not with Whanganui District Council. However, he has proposed that he sends out some information to the 4,000 plus Māori rolling voters that explains the situation and sends out our candidate forms. But as our Waia Kiritahi has rightly put forward, that actually the whole of the community should be receiving our information, because we're voting on and those candidate profiles help to articulate why we should be sitting around the table and to assure you that we're here for the whole of the community. So thank you, Waia Kiritahi, and we're going to be making that really clear. We're hoping to have some media opportunities in the coming days to talk to how this has impacted us. This is the first time we're having a Māori ward referendum, as Warwick has said, and so for our information to be left out feels, to be really honest, a bit of a kick in the guts. We've all been working incredibly hard, not to raise our own profiles, but to raise the profile of the Māori ward and the importance of having representation around the table. So that's all I wanted to say on that, and I'm sure the others will have the opportunity, hopefully, to include in their cordial when they come. Yeah, is that okay with you, Warwick? Do you want me to go straight into me now? Tēnā anō tātou. Here mō pōnā hau no te kāhui maunga, te awa tupua, no ngā tirangi, te Ātio Nui a Pāparangi. So I am a grandchild of the awa, of the maunga, and my iwi a ngā tirangi and te Ātio Nui a Pāparangi. It's only right that I acknowledge the events of the past week with the coronation of Queen Ngāwai Honoi Te Pō, and also acknowledge those who have passed in the last week. Our thoughts are with the whānau at this sad time. I'm a mum, I'm a nan, I've got a beautiful 8-month-old mokopuna sitting over there. I'm a business owner, I have a background in media and communication, and I'm an experienced governor. I've spent considerable time here working in our community, in different places and spaces, in health and iwi development, and social services. And I am really excited about the opportunity for us to have Māori representation around the table. I did some research, and in 153 years of the council's history here in Whanganui, through its various forms, there have been 5 Māori ward councillors in 153 years. We make up 27% of the population, and it's really important that we have the opportunity to sit at decision-making tables. That's my buzzer that I've got 30 seconds to go. And so I also want to let you know that whilst I'm standing in the Māori ward, all of the Māori ward seats are there to represent the whole of the community. But my key focus areas are going to be ensuring that health and well-being of our river becomes first and foremost, and our people alongside that, ensuring we have really, really clear Māori decision making, looking at how we can support infrastructure and ensure that it is future-proofed, and looking at housing inequities. Tēnā tātou.
Thank you very much, Julie. The second speaker tonight was to be Hayden Potaka. Hayden has had to tender an apology for not being able to attend tonight. He currently is at Wellington Hospital supporting his partner who is in the hospital. So he has asked me to read his statement. Kia ora. Thank you for your confirming the details of the upcoming Meet the Candidate session. Unfortunately, I'm able to attend in person as I'll be in Wellington supporting my partner who is undergoing major surgery. I sincerely apologise for my absence, and I would greatly appreciate if the following speech could be read on my behalf during the session. Kia ora. My name is Hayden Potaka. I am of the Liver and Ngāti Ruru, and this is my home. Born, Pātia, and raised here, I am standing for the Whanganui District Council Māori ward because I believe a real representation, shared decision-making, and the building of a future where every community thrives. My campaign is grounded on 3 priorities. 1, strengthening our infrastructure. From stormwater to footpaths, we need smart, long-term planning that keeps our communities connected and safe, especially in rural and coastal communities along our river. 2, backing Māori enterprise. As a business owner and advisor and advocate, I'll fight for targeted support to grow Māori enterprise and create jobs to keep our young people thriving in our own right. 3, protecting the Māori ward. The Māori ward must not be rolled back. I will stand firm for partnership, for equality, and for Māori to have a seat at the table, not outside the door, entrenching Te Treaty. I've worked across housing, iwi development, and Māori kaupapa and national strategy. I know how the system works and how to make it work for us. I'm here for the long haul. Let's keep the Māori ward and let's keep the partnership and let's move Whanganui forward together. Ngā mihi, Hayden Potaka. Thank you all. Thank you very much for that. Phil, would you like to come and give us your 2-minute platform speech, please? Ladies and gentlemen, Phil Reweti.
Kia ora there, whānau out there. To all those ones out there, how many of you on a Māori wall? Right, I need a quarter of you to vote for me so I can get my money back. 25% of 4,000, and I can guarantee I get my $200 back. But that's not the point. This is the 4th time I stood for a district council, and the reason why I'm standing now is because we finally got Māori wards in there, Whanganui. We're the only district around here that hasn't had it for a while, but we're surrounded by Māori wards. Is why I'm standing. A little bit about myself. I wasn't born here. I was born in Gisborne. But I moved here in 59 with my parents when they came out of the service, maybe in the army, and they got married here, and they built their house in Egmont Street, Castlecliff. I went to Castle School, Wellington Intermediate, and my boarding school I went away to Hamilton. When I finished college, my main job first was at Tasman Tanneries, and I was there for 6 years. Saved enough money to go overseas, so to Aussie. I was over in Aussie until 1979 before I came back to New Zealand, and I worked at the Ritz. Until 2012, I got locked out. I've been a union man all my life, and I fight for unionism. Fair pay and everything. Women's rights, the whole lot. So basically, that's my far side of life. But yes, I'm a father, 9 kids, 12 local pullers. My youngest is the young one, still at school, which is Wellington Intermediate. Now, of course, my profile, you won't be able to get to read it in the booklet. It'll take me too long, and longer than 2 minutes to read it. So, if I'd known about this earlier, I'll probably be sitting down here and protest. So that's what I do most of the time. I'm an activist. A lot of you may know me as there goes Beard, he's off on his walk out here with the flags. You know? It's off down to Parliament. I spent a lot of time at Parliament steps, and I'm used to having a megaphone in my hand. Okay, come on, go on.
next speaker, a big welcome to Kiritahi Firmin.
I wanted to break the way we're in the place. And what I was saying in te reo, because I've been brought up in my language, our language of Whanganui, was to give mana to the Māori wards. Why? Let's just have a think about that e te whānau. And I'm going to take 5 minutes of just silence so we can think about why. Ana, equity. When Warwick called me this afternoon to say, hey, I profusely apologise about the fact that your candidate statement is not in the mail and in the booklets, I became quite upset. Why? Because I look at Waine Colleen, who helped raise me when I was at Sacred Heart College. I look at all of my tangata tiriti friends who want to know our story around why the Māori wards are so important. Equity, te tiriti o waitangi. And I'm disappointed about that. I've been born and raised Whanganui. And in fact, this is the 3rd time I have stood for the council. The last 2 times I came pretty close. And then, of course, I knew that morning, 6 a.m. in the morning, I knew I'm so worried about what's in store for my grandchildren. So I thought, okay, I can't moan about stuff that I'm not going to be involved in because I'm here to represent our people through and through. I'm also standing for the Rural Community Board. Why? Because I live in the rural community, born and raised Kaiwaki Marae. And I want to meet to all of our whānau here who have come to tautoko us for a very momentous occasion. Kia ora tātou.
Thank you very much. Our last speaker for the Maori wards, big welcome to Geoff Hipango.
Kia ora tātou I tautoko ana I ngā karakia o te ahi pō. For those who do not know me, I'm Geoff Hipango, born in Whanganui. Proud descendant of not only Ātia Hau, Ngā Wairekia, Ngā Tiapa, and Taranaki. I lived my life in Whanganui and seen the changes in development over time. I have a social conscience that we do better by including those that are less fortunate. Care and investment of the environment beyond just an election cycle. Investment in housing, models, economic growth and infrastructure development that safeguards our future. Being in a city that has access to the essential services of health, education and events that bring people together. The right of people to express and live life without fear, prejudice and discrimination. When I'm aware of central government sitting on significant cash reserves in the palm of excuse to local councils that we have to tighten our belt, speaks to me of a government that's out of touch. Whanganui's future must be determined by Whanganui. And resist the interference from Wellington. This is why I believe that community voice in action, from my experience, is powerful. I'm a servant of my Māori people, and proudly do this at the Māori governance level. I consider it a privilege to manaaki and to welcome all people, and that is the responsibility in terms of our care within seeking the Māori board. My 35-year experience has been in health and social service provider as a practitioner, manager and governance, postgraduate qualified, beyond social worker, training, blah, blah. There will be changes around this council table. We cannot polarise our views. We need to actually get together, move beyond our differences, and our first point of duty is to elect a competent CEO.
Thank you very much, Jeffrey. Now we're going to move to question time, and what we'll do now is we'll pass the microphone to whoever's answering the question, and generally there will be two of you answering a question. So if the first person would pass the microphone to the second person when they're finished, and of course the time limit on questions is 1 minute. The first question will be asked by Hayden Potaka and Kiritahi Firmin. Sorry, not Hayden Potaka, he's not here, so that'll be Geoff. We've had a name change, Geoffrey, sorry. Okay, so the question is, how would you handle conflicts of interest or situations where your personal views might adversely influence council decisions? Thank you. Just where you are.
Kia ora. Full disclosure is important. I've had governing roles on ACC with the Ethics Committee, and then of course we've got standing orders. There are all these rules that we must abide by. So first of all, understanding what they are, and being totally clear that if I have a conflict of interest, then I say that right at the very, very beginning. But I've also read on some of the social profiles of some of our current candidates that they've also found a way to be able to articulate that too, as well as be part of a certain kaupapa that happens within council. So it's also about being guided and being coached.
There's a process in terms of ensuring they're basically full disclosure in terms of things that may offer a pecuniary gain to a council rep. It shouldn't be at the expense of good rigorous debate. The views in terms of being able to do that around the table is to express the view. There are means in terms of, again, to express right at the beginning, in terms of a particular advantage that as a candidate needs to be put forward. But those are the checks and balances and processes that are already in place as part of good governance.
I think I had 30 seconds there. I think I've got 30 seconds left, eh? Because I want to talk about this. I want to talk about neutrality. Neutrality has been an issue that has been raised over the last week around us as Māori ward candidates, because we are different. Our whakaaro, our responsibilities are to our people, and of course to you all, but we're here under the Māori ward. Also, we're accountable to our Whanganui District. And that is very complex.
Kiritahi, thank you. It's really important that we respect what we're doing. So if you could please follow the directions that I've given, that will ensure a fair and a more informative question time. Thank you. Next question, which will be answered by Reweti and Julie Herewini. With 2 seats around a table of 12, how will you make sure that Maori voices are not just heard, but acted upon in council decision making?
Yes, with 12 seats at the council, plus the mayor, there will be 10 general seats and 2 Māori ward seats. There will be 2 councillors, 1 or 2 or 3, and they will be same decisions as the other 10. There's no separation. It's just that there's a subject that comes up to do with Māori tanga. One of these 3 here will know what an answer will be. That's my question answer.
Tēnā tātou. I think it's really important that whoever holds the Māori ward seats takes the opportunity to share our Māori worldview, but also to create relationships. And that's what we have been advocating for right from the start with our Whanganui River settlement, is how do we bring the community with us? And so in order to do that, we have to share our worldview to help educate people on where we're coming from and to form reciprocal relationships. We don't have to agree with what everybody says, but we do have to respect everybody's opinions and take those on board. I see workshops in particular as being really important in terms of us being able to sit down together as a council as a whole and to get to understand people's viewpoints, to get to understand the information that's provided from the council officers in order for us all to make informed decisions. From my perspective, it's about doing your due diligence, which is what every councillor should be doing. Kia ora.
Move to the next question, which will be answered by Kiritahi and Geoffrey. If the current referendum result is not in favour of continuing Maori wards, what is the best strategy to maintain a strong Maori presence in local government?
I think one of the most important aspects in terms of what we would need to encourage is the power of the vote. That if our people in terms of were encouraged in terms of voting, changes are able to come. It's a strategy that at the end of the day, participation within our democratic process is critical. But when I look at it, when I just sort of see this audience, I was hoping to see them in terms of more of our people, and there is further work to be done to create forums where our people can actually come and, to be honest, be safe to hear a few.
Peter and I are prime examples of tenacity and resilience. We've been standing for the council for the past 10 years, and so we're still here. Congratulations as well. I really believe that we need to be in spaces where our people are. Take, for example, last week, we were in Mayoral here for a whole week, supporting our Queen i ngā Whanganui District Council, our Māori Queen. The focus there was lots about kotahitanga, solidarity as Māori, to then help everyone understand how we can all work together, live together, be together as one, and to understand the implications and the principles of the Treaty of Waitangi. And so, yeah, it's something that we're going to continue to do, whether or not we have it or not.
Thank you, Ron. I'd like to answer that question. If the referendum was lost for the Māori wards, this is not Whanganui, this is the whole of New Zealand, there will be another big hikoi. And there'll be an uprising, the whole country will not believe we'll ever see again. So that's all I want to say about that subject. There'll be a big uprising.
I think if we aren't successful in keeping the Māori ward, I'll be incredibly disappointed. I feel like we've come a long way as a community when I look back at the history of our iwi relationship with council. When I look at significant things like our stay at Pākai Ture, like the age debate, and now to have the council vote to bring in Māori wards has been a huge shift, and I want to congratulate you all for that. It will be incredibly disappointing. I really hope that irrespective of the Māori wards, we may still have some Māori councillors in the next election. We have 2 Māori candidates standing in the general role. I would hope that our people will mobilise behind those candidates next time around also. But ideally, I hope we have enough time for our views to permeate across the whole council so that whether we're there or not, our work will continue.
Next question we will ask Phil Reweti and Geoffrey to answer. Rates and spending. Rates are going up faster than many families can manage. How would you balance keeping rates reasonable while maintaining and or improving community services and infrastructure?
Talking about rates. Okay, rates. I'll put them up. That's the truth. That's the truth. Rates won't be going up because we've got to pay for everything. Otherwise, my walk-always got to come into this world. I mean, into when they start work, they're going to be paid for our muck-ups. So rates will probably be 2.2% a year plus 2.2%.
I see that there has been a lot of press, and I congratulate the council in terms of the 2% rise within the rates. You know, of us living in Arohamai, that was not the case. So it begs the question in terms of how is whatever formula is applied, because when I look at it in terms of where I live, ours, one particular block of ours, 100% increase. So the application in terms of what is considered a particular block had no infrastructure on it, immediately became impacted. So I think there's further debate, and it shouldn't just fall upon the ratepayer to fulfil infrastructural development. You know, there is in terms of central government, and we have to battle it. So, okay, bring it about.
Thank you. The next question, I was just reading the question to make sure I got it right. The next question will be asked by Kiritahi and Julie, if you would please. Big projects often require borrowing money. What's your position on council borrowing to fund infrastructure, and where would you draw the line?
Yeah, I'm aware that our current borrowing rate is under what is perceived to be what we could borrow up to, which I think is a good thing. I do also think we should be hesitant to continue to keep borrowing and keep borrowing. This is linked to the rates conversation, is that we have a limited ability to collect income through rates and through some of our commercial operations, some of which are doing really well and some of which are not doing so well. And so I think we should be erring on the side of caution and trying to keep debt as low as we possibly can, but also ensuring that we prioritise where our investment goes, so that we are operating on a prioritised needs basis rather than a wants basis. In saying that, I think it's important that we are spreading the debt out over generations so that it is manageable. But I would hate to see Mai Tamariki and Mokopuna having to bear the brunt of ongoing years of increasing borrowing to the point where we're setting them up to fail and it becomes completely unaffordable for them.
This morning I was sitting in an infrastructure and construction meeting. On my end, I'm building a $5.4 million papakaina on our awa. And we were talking about debt. And I said to the construction team from Auckland, from Wellington, from here as well, I said, what are the must-haves and what are the nice-to-haves? And let's put a line down the middle. We don't need this, but we need this to house our people. And I think that that can be the same equation for other things that we focus on. Housing is important. We need brand new housing for those in our families, and we know the more who are homeless. Kia ora.
Thank you, Kiritahi. So we're going to keep sort of loosely to that subject and ask Phil and Jeffrey to answer the next question, which is about debt reduction. Is council there to worry for many ratepayers? And how would you reduce the debt without cutting important services?
You know, it's easy to sit up here and just to say that we have to reprioritise. But I think if we review, you know, based on terms of what would be a long-term plan that identifies particular priorities, gives guidance for councillors to at least have a framework of what is costly. Because the longer that we know that in terms of particular infrastructure development, it goes up exponentially. And some of that can also be down to the fact that the decisions that are made that can be prolonged also increase the amount of cost. So I think part of it is that the long-term plan definitely provides an indicator and accurate costing, which no doubt the council process is something we have to do.
What's the question again, Mark?
The question is, council debt is a worry for many ratepayers. How would you reduce the debt without cutting important services?
Okay, a couple of years ago, a guy named St. Jones came here from the government for development funding. He gave us so many millions of dollars and it all got wasted. What I'm saying is it was supposed to be going to the port, but he ended up going to that place up on the hill there, Arohamai. Now, that's a lot of money going up there. So I'd say put it back into the rates and not the ratepayers end up paying for it.
Thank you, Doctor. What are the top three kahara that you will champion for Māori in Whanganui during your term? And how will you make them happy? How will you make them happen, sorry. We have Jeffrey and Julie to answer that question.
Tribal development is an economy that is strong in Whanganui. For as a people, for Whanganui tribe, in terms of when we look at some of the settlement, from initially 70 million, 10 years now it's 115 million. It's an intergenerational asset. What we do know in terms of processes like that is that we want to invest locally. Some of that is already happening. You see that within Grace Street, within the old St. George's complex. In terms of Te Whanganui services, which is tribally owned, but it's 200 staff there, has GP services, community nurses. That is investment. And more investment in terms of the tribal aspect is going to be happening. Council should be the enabler in order for that to occur.
Thank you, Julie.
Three things in a minute, that's a bit of a big ask. So I'm really aware that the Dublin Street Bridge conversation is happening, and one of the things that I will focus on if I'm elected to council is ensuring that the health and wellbeing of our river is adequately considered as part of the decision-making process for the Dublin Street Bridge development. I will also continue to support marae investment. I know that's a really contentious issue, and I have heard some commentary that marae are similar to the likes of town halls, which I completely disagree with. Marae are important tribal and historical places and spaces for our whole community, alongside all of us, and a reflection of our whakapapa. And I will also not say anything else because I have no more time.
Thank you for the 20 seconds, Julie. Our people define what we say. That's really important for us to understand. We don't stand here on... Kiritahi Firmin doesn't stand here on my own. I stand here under the auspices of our people, of Whanganui. We're Māori for our people, so we are guided by what our people say, whether it's the kaumata kauriera, whether it's our runanga, whether it's our marae, our aunties, nannies, and so forth. It would be wrong for us, as those of us here, because we're all on the same page. It would be wrong for us to talk about ourselves. Our people tell us what to say.
Sorry, I was having a little nine eyes there. But let's move on to our second to last question, and one that's dear to my heart. Sporting initiatives that attract Arohamai young people, such as WRRA, are growing in popularity. How would you support an increased participation in these activities? Now, I'd like two people to answer, and I'd like you to answer.
Ko tēnā tātou. I personally don't think that the WRRA clubs need any help in growing, because there are a huge amount of WRRA clubs in Arohamai already, and they're continuing to grow as we speak. Geoff's housing the newest one down at Tauho Marae at the moment. But what I would like to see is increasing opportunities for our whole community to engage with our river in whatever way that looks like, so that it's not considered
as an asset, as a commodity and as a resource, but as something we collectively as a community have a responsibility to care for. And so that can take many shapes and forms. Everybody that lives alongside our river and in our community has some sort of connection. They walk alongside it, they see it every day. So how do we encourage places and spaces for that to occur for everybody? Kia ora.
I just want to also put here as well that for the past over 50 years, our tiro hoi waka has been one of the most important journeys for our people of Whanganui, from the mountain to the sea. That needs more recognition. For example, to be on the front page of the Chronicle. Yeah? And Warwick, if I'm putting you to nine eyes, my apologies, but we're here to answer your questions.
Accessibility and affordability is critical. I mean, as kids, we've always been fortunate enough to choose particular sports and develop pathways. I think it's even more critical now because the pathways actually can lead into careers. If we look at it in terms of women's rugby, it is booming. Yeah, I've been involved in terms of again, marae-based of WRRA that is just recently, as of last Sunday, it's commenced, as well as jiu-jitsu. The encouragement of our kids to be healthy and fit, it's definitely something that we need to support and have a range of events that allows that. So it's an absolute tick from me.
Thank you, Geoffrey. One last question from me, and then we will have 2 or 3 from the floor, then we will break for intermission. So this question will be answered by Julie and Phil, please. Parking in the city centre. There's been a lot of talk about parking in the city centre, with businesses worried about fewer customers shopping and shoppers frustrated by fees and fines. What ideas or approaches would you consider to improve parking in the city centre, keeping it fair for shoppers, supporting local businesses, and having council revenue?
Okay, parking in town is not a problem for me, because I've got a disability card and also a gold card. So I've got 2 cars on my windscreen. So yes, I'm not in town long enough to be putting money in the meters. I'll just go to the light shop, duck in and duck out. But when I did get a ticket, it went viral. It got sent to Andrew and they fixed it.
Kia ora tātou. My husband can attest that I'm very familiar with the parking fines in our city. In fact, I had to get the car changed into my name so he no longer received them, so that I could kind of hide them away. Especially when I was doing my hair back to Whanganui, that was a regular, getting regular fines up there. But I did learn actually last week at the council general ward candidates session that some of the fines are actually set nationally. And what I did agree with Rob Vinson saying, and I think he's here tonight, was that we should not be advocating to central government. We should just be flat out ignoring them and changing our parking fines. So thank you both for informing me of that. But I do think there is a bit of a balance, because I do understand that we get rates revenue from parking. And I do like the idea of potentially some free parking at the start of a session, so whether it's 20 minutes, half an hour. I think an hour is a bit excessive for some people who are just ducking in, but I think that's worth having conversations around workshopping what councillors' views are in order to find that balance. Kia ora.
Thank you very much. Let's need to have 3 reasonably quick questions from the audience. If you would like to ask a question, please raise your hand. Over here in the second row. Thank you.
Kia ora, Jay Redekura, last name for council. The question that I want to ask, was how will you encourage our tangata tiriti friends to vote to keep Māori wards.
So, yes, please choose amongst yourselves who's going to answer. We'll just have 2 people answering though, please.
I believe that we're doing that now, Jay. For all of our lives here, we have been brought up, raised with our tangata tiriti, not just Pākehā, but, whānau from all over the world. And I've been so proud. I know all of us are on the same page. So proud to have the most beautiful kindred spirits. Kia ora, Ross. I remember standing with you the last time. And all of those people in here, it is about us being able to maʻitaʻi while also maintaining our authenticity. I am a Māori woman from the awa o Whanganui. I can never change. It's in my DNA. But I'm also articulate enough, because I went to an amazing school, taught by amazing nuns, to be at the same table, sitting next door to whānau, tangata tiriti, so we can share our future.
We celebrated a milestone last week. For the last 3 years, we celebrated our monthly community kai at Te Arohamai. It brings people together. Predominantly those that do tūna are tangata tiriti. It has taken away this mystique in terms of being on the mai, put one for and someone's going to sort of shoot you. It has encouraged in terms of panaunatanga and conversations. It has reduced social isolation. It has brought together people to sort of see who've never experienced necessarily what marae living is like, to actually come in, and when we do, we have a shared kai. That's universal. I will continue to manaaki tangata, no matter who they are, where they're from, because that is the core value of being Whanganui and being iwi. You look after people that come through your gates.
Thank you, Geoff. We have time for one more question, Amy. Down here with your hand up, please. Thank you. Tim? Thank you.
Tēnā tātou, te whānau, ko Tania Bailey tōka wingwa no reira, tēnā koutou. I would like to ask how you intend to communicate with us as whānau. Like what forums, because we know that does not happen. There's small groups, pockets doing all the kōrero, but we're not actually involved. So how do you intend to ensure that we are involved in those processes, and what are you planning to do?
Rachel, just repeat the question, or briefly repeat the question.
So the question is, how will you engage with the Māori community, the Māori community, and feedback to them with the two-way conversations?
Māori community or council community?
Us.
Yes, thank you, Phil.
Nice question there, Tania. What I was going to say, at the moment the Ruanga, they deal with the council around at the council table with tūpō, but they then come back to us as a community every now and then. So we're still waiting for answers like, I won't mention names, but yeah, if I get on the council, I'm not on Facebook all the time just to do that, but I will be putting it on Facebook.
Thank you for that question. Simplicity for me is really important. If you've got a question for me, text me, call me, say, come and have a cup of tea, because I will not be silent for our people. We must know the important kōrero. For example, today, when I heard that our Māori candidate statements were taken out or omitted, I went straight away to our people. That's important. I am not part of a clique. Our people need to know the truth. We need to know what's in our future. We need to know what's happening at the table. And it's got to be articulately, not one-sided. There's always two sides to a story. So for you, and for all of our people who ask the same question, kano'i ki te kano'i as well.
Thank you so much. No, I think we'll call it for there, because I want to stick to the timetable as much as I can. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the first session We will now break for 15 minutes and rejoin here at 10 past 7. So thank you very much. Please give all the people here a big hand. Back in here.